Good evening, Dr. White. My name is Nicholas Cantwell, and today I will be doing my best to explain the IEP process. So a little bit about me. I am currently a special education teacher in my third year at a middle school in Virginia. I teach in a collaborative algebra classroom to 8th graders. Over my career so far, I've been a part of about 30 IEP meetings, so let's get started. Generally, the IEP process will start when a teacher, parent, or other professional, such as a doctor, psychologist, or social worker, notices that a student is exhibiting academic concerns in the classroom. Or if a parent is noticing things at home that might lead to concerns in the classroom. After that, there is generally some communication between the person that made the referral and the coordinator of special education, as well as their teacher. And usually the teacher may try to provide some in-class support, targeted support before the official referral process begins. But if that doesn't work, then yes, the referral will be moved on to the coordinator of special education, and then a series of evaluations will happen to determine if the student is eligible for special education services. Those evaluations are an academic evaluation, a behavioral evaluation, and a social evaluation. In my experience at my school, the coordinator of special education normally takes care of the academic evaluation. The school psychologist takes care of the behavioral in the classroom, and the school social worker will conduct the social evaluation with the family at home. And after all of these evaluations are concluded, the team that conducted the evaluations, as well as the special education teacher, sometimes a general education teacher, and the parent will all meet to determine if the child is eligible for special education services. And when I say eligible, I mean if they suffer from a disability that severely impacts their ability to access the general curriculum without accommodations or modifications. If the team determines that a child suffers from a disability that impacts their ability to access the general curriculum, then an IEP will be put in place. An IEP is a legally binding document that basically serves as a framework for the specific supports and services that a student will receive within special education at school. So the IEP is comprised of a whole bunch of different components. The first one being the present levels of academic achievement and performance. That's basically a rundown of how the student is performing presently at his in each of his general education classes, as well as some input on how they get around school, maybe their strengths and weaknesses, things of that sort. Then we'll move on to the measurable annual goals, which are written generally by the general education teacher. And they're basically a way to monitor progress on how the child will do in each class. And they're normally set to a specific standard and are very specific. There are the special education and related services, so that will outline what services the child is receiving, how often they're receiving services, and where they are receiving services. So maybe they're in all collaborative classes and they receive special education services every single day. Or maybe they only receive math services, so every other day or something like that. Or they could even be in a self-contained classroom. So that's where that will be outlined. There are accommodations and modifications, which are supports that the special education teacher puts in place to aid in their ability to access the curriculum, or a modification would be changing the curriculum in some way to bring it more to their level. I work with 8th graders, so that's a transition year. So we have post-secondary goals, which are things that they need to work towards after high school. Like where they're going to live, if they're going to have a job, if they're going to go to college, anything like that. We do progress monitoring and let the parent know that they will receive quarterly progress reports. And then there's also the prior written notice, which is basically just outlines that any changes to an IEP will be made in writing and that it will be signed off and have parent approval before implementation. Now, once the IEP is put in place, it's incredibly important that the entire IEP team, that being the coordinator of special education, the general education teacher, the special education teacher, the parent, the student, even the other professionals involved, maintain communication. In my experience, I've had the most success with parents and students in which that I've had almost daily communication with. And it really helps everybody be on the same page, and it really helps hold everybody accountable. Um, Now, regarding the ethical responsibilities of upholding an IEP, I already stated before that an IEP is a legally binding document and it must be followed. It's also really what a team of professionals have, as well as the family, have decided is these are the supports that we need to put in place in order to best serve the needs of that specific child. So, Dr. White, I really like to thank you again for the opportunity to talk about this today. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Thank you very much.